Imagine a land where the forests are vast, the rivers run free, and the people live in harmony with nature. Until one day, their very way of life is threatened. This is the story of a man who rose from these very lands to challenge an empire. A man who became a legend. This is the story of Alluri Sitarama Raju. Born on July 4, 1897, in the small village of Mogallu in the present-day Andhra Pradesh, Alluri Sitarama Raju was the son of Venkatarama Raju and Suryanarayanamma. He came from a respected Telugu family, but his destiny was far from ordinary. He began his early education in his hometown before moving to Visakhapatnam for further studies. But by the time he was 18, something changed. He chose the path of a sannyasi, renouncing worldly pleasures. It was in the dense eastern Ghats that his destiny began to unfold. As he wandered through the tribal lands, he saw firsthand the injustices the British imposed on the native people, and soon their struggle became his own. For centuries, the tribal communities of these lands lived by a simple rule. Nature was their home. They practiced a traditional farming method called podu, a form of shifting cultivation, where land was cleared, used for farming, and then left to regenerate, while the farmers moved on to a new patch. This cycle maintained soil fertility and preserved the forest ecosystem. But in 1882, the British passed the Madras Forest Act, a law that stripped them of their rights, forbidding them from using their own land. What followed was suffering, taxation, forced labor, and loss of dignity. The forests that once provided for them were now controlled by the British. It was under these oppressive skies that the fire of rebellion was lit, and at its heart was Alluri Sitarama Raju. Raju did not preach resistance, he lived it. He saw that words alone would not bring change. And so in 1922, he led the tribal warriors into battle. This was the beginning of the Rampa Rebellion, a fight against the might of the British Empire. Unlike conventional battles, Raju and his men fought using guerrilla tactics. They knew the forest like the back of their hands, striking with precision and vanishing before the British could retaliate. It was a war of wits, and for 2 years the empire struggled to contain him. The British were growing desperate. With every attack, Raju's legend grew. They placed a bounty of 10,000 rupees on his head, dead or alive. But even with a price on his life, he refused to step back. The empire, however, was relentless, and in May 1924, fate took a cruel turn. Raju was deceitfully captured by the British, who had no intention of giving him a fair trial. Instead, they decided to eliminate the rebel leader once and for all. On May 7, 1924, Alluri Sitarama Raju was bound to a tree and executed in cold blood. The British believed they had silenced a rebellion, but they could not silence his spirit. His name became a war cry, his courage an inspiration for generations to come. Today, he is remembered as Manyam Veerudu, the hero of the jungle, a man who fought not for wealth, not for fame, but for justice. His story is not just history, it is a lesson, a legacy, and a call to never bow down to oppression. A postal stamp was issued on 26 December 1986 and released in his village, Mogallu of West Godavari district, AP. 10 lakh copies of the stamp were printed and sold out. Alluri Sitarama Raju may have fallen, but his spirit lives on. In every fight for freedom, in every voice that speaks against injustice, his legacy continues. The question is, will we carry it forward?